involve adult themes and strong language. This is the Curse of Penance RPG.
Welcome to Curse of Penance RPG. This will be the first of two-part run through every episode with the cast. We have 3 for this part, and we will hopefully have more for part 2. This one will cover the first 8 episodes of Curse of Penance podcast. Welcome to the final ever episode of anything to do with Curse of Penance RPG.
Dun dun dun!
Yes, so this episode will be a very fast run through of every single episode with the cast, talking about what they thoughts on it, and yeah, going from there. So, we only have 3 of the cast with us tonight, so briefly introduce yourselves and who is your favourite NPC? Starting with AJ.
Hey, I'm AJ. I played Ozmand. A favourite NPC? I kind of like the drunk guy near the beginning. I can't remember his name, but the one who was like, "Get my sister out of town."
Oh,
It's Mark.
That was him. Yeah. He just was like, I don't know, something about him just was like, I don't give a fuck, but I'm really willing to pay you guys to do this.
He did teach us the phrase "plant my dad."
That was it. Yeah.
I think it's because he mainly reminds me of a very drunk Popsky.
I wonder what it was based on.
He did.
Dragon agrees.
Ismark did give me my second favourite NPC sound effect, which is a hey.
That sound also sounds really, really familiar.
I don't want welcome to Curse of Penance After Dark.
Next we have Tubbs.
Hello, my name is Tubbs, and to the great delight of Welsh people everywhere, this is the last time you'll ever hear this voice in this accent. My favourite character, and I forget what her name was, but the one that we turned into a cat a number of times.
Stella.
Oh,
Stella. Mainly because she lets my favourite sound effect exactly that of the entire campaign. I think that might be the greatest sound effect that's ever occurred in any podcast ever, and if you disagree, I'll fight you.
And finally, Meg.
Hi, I'm Amy. I play Meghren. My favourite NPC, I think I have to go for Victor. It's just so funny.
Yeah.
Victor!
Let's just play a game.
Mainly because I know that probably you're doing the actions at the same time, like your hands are coming up like a mad scientist.
Sort of Tommy Cooper wave. Like
Yes! Yes, exactly.
I turn you into life, just like that.
Just like that.
Apparently Tommy Cooper was buying a fez once in, and the guy who didn't speak a lick of English just said to him, he was like, just like that, and did the hand movement. And got really confused that Tommy Cooper didn't find it funny. Because apparently all the English people he did it to found it funny.
Apparently he was like, he liked people and audiences laughing with him, but he'd get super, super angry if he thought people were laughing at him.
Yeah, he was really self-conscious about his height. He had a certain, there was a really, really good documentary that I really recommend. It was a BBC one. It goes all through his life and how he died on stage and stuff. I find it, see it, it's really good. And it goes on about how he had to like lie on his back and have his legs against a wall because of his some sort of condition with his knees. I think it was to do with like enlarged joints and stuff, and it was creating so much pressure on. Oh, it's so interesting. But yeah, I love Toby Cooper.
There's a super great episode of The Dollop where they talk all about him as well.
Oh.
Can we get Dragon's opinion on best NPC?
Yeah.
Okay. Dragon, who's your favourite NPC?
Oh,
This is Dragon. She's the one who laughs at us when we do shit badly.
We love Dragon.
mostly I sit there and go, but the one bit you haven't looked at is the thing that holds everything together. And it's got like flashing neon lights around it.
We're super competent.
Dragon sits in our Discord chat. You know we're doing something wrong because it'll just say Dragon is typing at the bottom and then change when she decides that she shouldn't tell us the answer to this puzzle.
Or she just gets so mad that she goes, no, I'm going to let them burn.
Anyway, sorry, Dragon.
In fairness, there have been a couple of times where it's more, I'm going to step away from the computer so I can't hear this just now.
And scream into a bag.
Just how do we kill the fucking vampire?
I knew it.
Favourite NPC, I'm actually going to go for the elf who doesn't really exist in the original.
Oh, is that Fergus? Fergus.
Yeah, Fergus.
The one where we never thought to think past the fact that he's just an innocent monk. I'm an innocent monk. Okay.
I'm just a
I'm
dragon.
just an innocent elf. I'm just a worshipper serving my master. I've never left this room before.
Yeah. Let's not question how you're innocent.
Let's not question how you feed yourself.
Yep.
And why there are all these dead bodies lying around.
Let's just take him at face value.
He's the one that really stands out to me as very, very carefully saying things that could be taken whichever way you want to.
Yeah.
Which
I will
was at face value.
I will admit, this is like my first D&D in a long, long while. So
And let's face it, things that are GM'd by Nikoli, they're unlike a lot of other games I've been in.
Agreed. Can I throw in a couple of honourable mentions?
Yep.
So, firstly, Wolves Are People Too.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And the head hippie, obviously.
Oh yeah, him as
Yeah,
well.
you love the head hippie.
Just because of the character voices.
Not physically.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the whole trying to seduce you.
Yeah.
But the orgy was just, oh god.
I feel like Tubbs became a three-dimensional character that day when you realise he has flaws too. I think that's about the first episode we realised that he had minor flaws.
Yeah, that was the first
The
episode.
first episode. Are you sure?
Also, I want to shout out to Tammy for probably the best villain because I loved the fact that I loved the etiquette monster angle.
Yeah, that was good. That was...
The book's version is just too flawed, but we'll get to that when we get to the episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dragon, are you also going to be joining this, or are you going to just be staying quiet?
I'll probably mostly stay quiet.
Okay.
That seems more appropriate.
I'm sure people can ask a dragon if they want to ask things, because Dragon has read the book as well, so if I forget what the original book says, I can ask Dragon.
Hey Dragon, who is your favourite PC?
Oh. See,
No,
now
that's-
you're just trying to get me in trouble.
That's not fair. She's staff. She's not allowed to have favourites.
Exactly, we'll have one.
love all her children.
Well, we're her adopted children. Adopted.
What a fuck.
Or I will just burn you all.
Yeah.
We're like a Lebowski family.
Dysfunctional.
Only one of you I take any responsibility for is Nikoli.
Hello.
The rest of you are more than capable on your own.
Yeah,
Have you
I'm
I'm
fine.
better at speaking.
I'll be able to look after myself. I'm okay.
Tubbs definitely can't, which is why it's probably good he's in prison.
Meg's running a pub, so she's happy.
Right, let us begin. Episode 1 was Death House, which we covered briefly in the Q&A episode, so we can just skim over it. You start in the cart. Any thoughts on the way you started the whole campaign?
I've had a lot of time to think given people's questions and reticence to accept Tubbs' method of picking locks. I will say that any person who can punch a person to death accidentally with a single blow is probably justified in trying to punch locks open, so that's a decision that I stand by. Come at me.
Yeah, but have you ever punched like a metal person to death?
I mean, I'm sure at one point I punched a lock and it open.
I don't know if you did.
Would that be something that wasn't locked to begin with?
Probably.
There's a good chance, yeah.
I mean, I can punch a gate open if it's not locked.
See, exactly, legitimate strategy. Continue.
Do we know how the cart actually got into Barovia, or did it just go through a portal or something?
Took a wrong turning at Albuquerque.
Yeah, he took a left instead of a right.
It was the ironic left turn at Albuquerque. It was the road was blocked and they backtracked and turned into Barovia rather than carrying along the road. And then your
Bloody Highways Agency.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then your convoy was attacked and everyone was killed.
Except for the important people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were in a cage.
We were left to suffer for longer.
The original version of Curse of Strahd doesn't have that. The original version has that you're sent an invitation. Or you're basically there's 3 ways you can get there. 2 of them are you're sent invitation. One of them is you just seem to sort of stumble into Barovia, but that didn't really work in my mind.
I prefer our way.
Yeah.
We were all
I'm
doing
very
some
much a
helicopter
fan of
skiing
the-
and we went down the wrong side of the mountain.
Yeah, I'm very much a fan of the you start with nothing, especially in a campaign, because it lets you organically build rather than having an answer for everything.
Yeah, it seems
I
more
think it
natural.
worked really well.
Yeah, it seems more natural that you're picking up things as you're going along and discovering things around you. So yeah.
Without that, there would be no Legend of the Bread Knife.
Exactly.
Or Karen's kneecapping candlesticks.
Or some of the band's greatest hits.
Sorry.
So yes, the only thing I want to mention is that you were chased into this house, and then there's the werewolves and the green mist. The original book has that mist just chases you around and slowly pushes you into this house.
Yeah.
I didn't like that because I felt it was inorganic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a C-list Star Trek original series monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
It felt too restrictive. It felt it didn't last with what I wanted to do, because I wanted you to be bluntly nobodies that were a back of prison cart that just managed to get into this place and just managed to get to safety before this mist appeared.
It also
Whereas
doesn't make
the book,
Sorry.
the whole thing with Strahd's character is it's meant to be that unless he thinks you're a challenge, he doesn't care.
Yeah, the mist kind of feels like it.
So if he thinks you're a challenge, then why doesn't he just... I mean, I know there was the whole Strahd likes to play with people thing, but it felt too... It's that, like the kind of it's like what's his name, the guy from the Avengers film, the latest one.
Thanos.
Thanos.
Yeah, it's like that I can kill anyone if I want, so why would I, it's like there's toying with you, and there's that I can just snap your neck if you've got a problem, so why?
Yeah, so why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It just felt too powerful for what he could have been able to do.
Also, we never mentioned it, but all of our characters had super chunky necks, so you would have had a
Yeah.
bit of a tricky time.
Oh, man. Tubbs is just a cylinder straight up and down.
Yep.
I think he did handle Death House itself pretty well, though.
Yeah, I'm quite curious about so that cult, the sacrificial pit.
Yeah.
What was the deal with them?
Yeah, what did we threw a light into it.
Originally, there's just this sacrifice pit beneath, and it's some cultists.
But
And
they're there
they basically
because-
originally they dedicated their thing to Strahd, and I can't remember if Strahd
He got
appears and
fed
kills
up
them all
with
because
how-
they've done something he doesn't like.
No, he got fed up with just how incompetent they are at it and that they're playing with it. So he just goes and kills them all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
whereas
right.
mine it was the Cult of Brian, because I love the Cult of Brian, and the Cult of Brian will feature in everything I ever do because it's one of my favourite inventions.
I love the Cult of Brian.
Oh, hi there, we're Brian.
I
You like a cup of tea?
love the Cult of Brian.
I love the Cult of Brian, it's genuinely my favourite thing.
It was also genuinely obviously, given this was as much as I've listened to some Penance stuff for, it was genuinely spooky. I was genuinely quite creeped out at a couple of points. I think it set a really good tone for the rest of the campaign. I was like, this is going to be dumb, but it's also going to be spooky.
Yeah.
I mean, those little things I do want to just glance over, like, in the book there's like a room full of artifacts, and I'm like, why would you have a room full of artifacts? It's too early to give them a room full of artifacts.
Yeah.
So the version I did, I just gave you like the sacred sack of, I forget what his name was, which was basically just like a hollowed out testicle sack, which you were really happy with until you found out what it was, and then you were like, oh no.
Did we not keep that?
You threw it at the monster.
They threw it at the monster.
You took it, then you found out what it was, and you put it back, and then about 10 minutes later you got to grab it to throw it at the blob in the sacrifice pit.
Yeah.
So, the next, we'll just sort of skim over. We did most of the Coverley episode, so you went through. I explained I don't like the ending because the ending turns into scything blades and gas, which I just feel is. Yeah, I mean, people can build death traps all they want, but there's no point in just building a death trap just for the sake of killing a party in episode 1. I mean, put a little death trap here, there, and everywhere, but don't put like so many in one episode, especially episode 1. It just feels so.
Yeah, a bit tedious.
It just feels a really cheap ending.
Yeah. Also, why would you have a house that turns into a death trap? Even if you're a cult.
And why didn't Strahd figure it?
Yeah.
So we'll skim on to episode 2. Episode 2 was arriving in the town of Barovia, where you first met Ismark and Irina, who you later referred to as Shania Twain.
I mean, it's great from the copyright.
It was easier to remember her as Shania than
Irina.
I don't know. I think because we named her, it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
A bit more in my mind. I've got a terrible memory for NPC names anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
With this episode, I think we've covered this one already as well.
We've covered all of this episode.
I think you did the first 3 on the Q&A bit.
The only real thing about this one was I don't really understand the character of Ismark, but again, we covered that. And yeah, I've kind of covered everything in this episode. And we just skip this one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 3 was the journey from town of Barovia to Vallaki, notorious party town. This is the one that starts with meeting the drunk Vistani on the road, at the Vistani camp, and then going to Vallaki, and then was this also the one with the preacher and the bones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, what was your thoughts on this episode?
It was super messed up how Tubbs just wailed on that guy with no provocation.
I mean, I was going for the swing, and I feel like it was a DM decision that a crit fail meant he died, so you know.
If you mean about him killing the Vistani, I think that was the next episode, because that was after the dream pastry.
We went to the camp.
Yeah, you came back.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, sorry, I just heard drunk thing. Much like my memory for NPC names, my memory for what happened in which episode is a little hazy.
That's fine.
Well, this was the advent of CSI Barovia, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is the one where we hunted down the fisherman.
No,
that's the next one.
That was the
This
next
one we broke into the house
This
where
one
that
was
kid had
just
stolen
the
the
one
boat.
where you
Oh,
got
yeah.
to the priest.
Oh yeah, and the priest
and he
died.
had the bones, and he asked you to go and find the bones for him, and you had the coffin maker, the grave digger, and who was the third one?
See if we had spent less time trying to break into the house and actually got back to the priest, would we have saved the priest?
Debatable. Because I originally was going to have you have a combat with it, but again, you didn't have much time and stuff. So, but the principle in the book originally is that these bones have gone missing, but you can return them. But the story in the book is very convoluted. It's very much the young priest told his friend who told his friend, and that friend stole the bones because he just did. And he's living in a house full of vampire spawn, which didn't make any sense at all.
See, I liked the thing I found good in the general campaign though is that there was always kind of a bit of tension building going on, and I think that's when it really first started, that we were doing these things, because especially in adventure, especially when you play a lot of kind of D&D games, you a lot of time it's kind of like you go on a mission, you succeed in the mission, everything's fine, you go on the mission, you succeed, and they kind of you iterate that loop of we saved the day 400 times.
Yeah,
But
it's
actually-
just the repeating formula.
Yeah, whereas actually at no real point, and part of it was down to our ineptitude, fair, but at no real point were we ever kind of ahead of the curve. It always felt like we were always just slightly too late to, we got small wins to win later episodes, but I think we always kind of, the bigger thing, this kind of this overarching thing was always kind of one step ahead of us, and I think that's where it started to show, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of things building in the background that were kind of hovering, but we weren't 2 steps behind it.
Yeah.
Kind of, is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so with that thing, the fact that every time we're like, hey, we've made a friend. Oh wait, they're dead.
Yeah, something was always looming.
Yeah.
But I think it tied into, like you say, we were kind of below Strahd's notice as well, that stuff was just happening and we happened to be there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Worked quite well, as opposed to just gather your townsfolk, the heroes have arrived.
Yeah.
I think did we even actually try that once and people were like, nah, screw off.
No.
No, okay.
No, but then at no real point was it. It wasn't. I think that's a really good way of putting it. It wasn't like we were the main characters. Shut up. It was a case of we are here while these events are happening.
Yeah, I mean, my writing style, especially for DMing and stuff, is very much that you are people and you are there, and you act and are treated like everyday people.
Yeah, because that's what we were.
I don't really like the whole you turn up and announce to the world, yes, I'm an adventurer, and you go, well, okay. People will treat you that way if you do that, but if you don't say anything, you just keep yourself to yourself, people will treat you just that way, and there's not really much point in treating you otherwise, if you know what I mean.
I had a fun time.
We were CSI Barovia, though.
I don't think we understood what CSI Barovia was,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Slightly off topic, but I had a fun time kind of playing with that in the last D&D thing we recorded, because the characters pulled up on a new town and they were like, hey, we're the heroes of this town, and people were like, where's that town? I've never heard of that town. And basically kind of just like, pay for your own damn beer, we're not going to buy you a drink because you're the heroes of some village you've never heard of. Kind of thing.
Yeah, well, this was also the first time you met Isaac.
Ismark.
Oh, yeah.
No, Isaac.
Oh, no, it's X-ray, yeah.
Isaac.
Metal Man.
Yeah.
Metal Arm, Isaac.
Metal Arm.
Yeah.
Well,
See, my main D&D character has a metal arm, so I always had a little bit of like,
It was meant to be your D&D character.
So everybody try to copy the Winter Soldier.
in the book, Isaac has it's like a sort of demon kind of arm. It's strange. You can use it to throw fireballs.
Okay.
Okay.
Which I just read and I went, that's really bad. I mean, as I said, one of my biggest things as well is I'm not a magic should flow from the rooftops kind of thing. I'm much more that magic is magic and it's used when it's used. It's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a sort of poverty-stricken town like Vallaki, Barovia, Kresk, magic is something you see few and far between. You don't see it everywhere you look, and if you did see it, the place would look different. Whereas the way it's written is things like, you know, he's got an arm that can shoot fireballs, and I was like, well, how about I just give him this big, clunky, mechanical arm that looks terrifying, that feels terrifying, that means he doesn't just go, stop you, fireball. It actually feels more intimidating for his character to have this gigantic mechanical arm. That I originally had it that when you went back to the bar, you see him just winding this, like, put this key into it and just winding this arm, and it's just this intimidation. You hear this, you know, sort of like clicking as it gets power to it, kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
like a
I
clockwork motion.
Yeah, I was totally picturing like a giant kind of steampunky clockwork arm.
Yeah. And that to me is much more of a intimidation factor than this guy's got an arm that can shoot fireballs, and you're like, oh.
I mean, I can understand like the look of it, kind of like the demon arm. I can understand the look, but even then, that's not as intimidating as you say as the mechanical clockwork arm. Yeah,
I mean,
because you're not sure how strong it is as well. As a character, you're great. He's gonna crush my windpipe within like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
It's also a bit like, I get that Barovia is kind of under this spell, but given that like up until relatively recently, like even when we were there, they were, one would presume worshipping like the sun god and stuff and that kind of thing. To have just a character who's a respected member of society in a way walking around like, hey, I'm part demon, seems
I don't know if it
odd.
was Demon Dragon. Can you remember what his arm was made from?
I can go around get my copy of the book if you want, if that'd be helpful.
I think it just says magic.
It's just magic. I mean, one of the other big things that really bothers me about a lot of the NPCs is there's no backstory. Or if the backstory, it's I did X because I wanted to.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, like for example, Isaac for me was his story was very much that he was found with his arm got cut off in combat. He met these witches. He made a deal with these witches, and they gave him this arm. And his character was one that he's very loyal to people who looked after him when he was down, and he's just this gruff, very independent, very much that I will be in charge, I'll do everything that someone's told me to do kind of thing character.
Well, he was one of the ones born without a soul.
Yeah.
And the other children bullied him for losing his arm in this wolf attack, and he ended up just kind of killing them. The new arm, he woke up one day and the new arm had barbed spines, elongated fingers and long nails. can create fire with the snap of his fiendish fingers and has used the flames to put the fear of the devil into every Valachian. That is all it tells us.
Do you see what I mean by it? It feels...
It feels too much.
I feel like they could have lost the fire component in that, and it would have been more effective.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of window dressing.
There's the biggest problem in a lot of D&D that I've read is they don't know, because they like to do, this is awesome, you've got this creature, and it's got wings, and it's got claws, and it's got teeth, and it's got this, and it's got that. They don't know how far is enough. And there's certain characters, when you read like their backstory, that if the character is fundamentally evil and fundamentally a bully, you don't need to empower them and empower them and empower them to make them terrifying. Their reputation you can build, and you can do it yourself quite well with minimal.
Yes,
you don't need all this.
They do try to give you all of the options so you can choose where to take it.
But I think he was good, and he was menacing in a mundane way, which was good, as in like it was just a case of, this is a big guy, he's gonna fuck you up if he hits you. And I think that in itself was more menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a big bruiser, and it was indicative of kind of that, what's going on in Barovia.
It helps to scare the player as well as the character.
Yeah.
Plus that he was kind of the sort of like authority figure, sort of enforcer thing, especially when we were this early on in the campaign, still very fresh from a prison wagon kind of thing. It was sort of...
Yeah, kind of hiding from the law as well.
Yeah, the sort of, just the threat of like, oh, he's a local law person.
Yeah.
You know.
It gives you a sense of the place.
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly, just a glance over the toy maker. Any thoughts on the toy maker?
He scammed me, the prick.
I still feel really bad for him.
The toy maker...
The
Toymaker's character is very 2D, and I hope I fleshed him out a little bit more. His whole thing in the book is he just sells depressing toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I regret not exploring him a bit more. Not like that,
I kind of feel bad that he has no backstory, because you could have made him like he'd had a daughter or like something to make him so depressed. Besides
I had
Strahd.
a couple of ideas what to do with him, but I also like the fact that he had the orangutan.
Mm-hmm.
Because the book says that he's got like a monkey, and he puts it in a ballerina dress and it just runs around him, and you're just like, surely he'd want something that will sit and disassemble and reassemble clockwork, because that's what he does, that's his thing.
I don't know, he might have just wanted amusement.
Yeah,
I'm imagining like
not like
those...
he's got any other bright spots.
Yeah.
See, I wish we'd explored him a bit more, because obviously he was having troubles with his mark, which was obviously quite an interesting angle, especially for me, given that he was like...
The doll maker.
Yeah, so he was making these dolls for him, and like given it, so in my mind, if we had explored him, I could have been this kind of, in my mind, because we didn't know much about him, I had this kind of person who felt a bit sorry for Ismark, and like...
You mean Isaac?
Isaac, sorry, yeah, and would like kind of take pity on him sort of, and he would help him with all this stuff, but we never really went as far as down what their relationship was, which is a shame.
Then we totally didn't put two and two together when we found with the dolls later on.
You found the dolls twice and you still didn't put it together even the second time.
We are smart.
We just didn't want to kink shame him.
Yeah.
We're very anti-kink shaming here on a Curse of Penance RPG.
Other thing you did quickly in this episode was you found Victavio the first time. Any thoughts on Victavio?
He's cool. I like Victavio.
I'm grateful for his bird.
Victavio's character in the book is meant to be this established vampire hunter.
Yes.
Who's
in Barovia?
Yeah,
no,
in Barovia.
Not just in Barovia, vampire hunter from all
abroad
over.
Yeah,
all
he's meant
over.
to be this
It's just
famous vampire hunter who came to the realm to hunt Strahd.
Like, I'm surprised that Strahd hadn't already like got wind of him and killed him already.
If he's that famous.
It says he's meant to be this fully under disguise, fully under false name, very careful, very meticulous, very trying to take his time and get all the information he needs before he goes to hunt Strahd. It again just felt it didn't understand to have a character with that much power that was there, that was just sort of like, I'm just here.
It just seemed too convenient that an ally that strong would come along so early.
Yeah, I mean,
especially given his main thing is like funneling to you towards fighting Strahd. Like, if he's an epic vampire hunter, surely he's like, I know how to do this shit. You guys can help, but let me deal with it because that's what I do.
Well,
you guys are civvies.
The other thing he talks about that I did cut out of the book was I cut out the Were-Ravens, which are a secretive group of people. We'll get on to talking to them in an episode about the wine, but Were-Ravens are the secret society that are meant to be all around Barovia. They're meant to be like congregating to take down Strahd.
So it's just like one extra faction that would have complicated things further.
It's an extra faction who can, if they decide that they trust you, can help you and help like give you support and some information.
Yeah.
But Nikoli basically just hates wear anything. So.
Yeah, they felt needless. They felt like they'd be interesting if it was like, let's get you into the secret society underneath in the sewers and stuff, and we're going to try and take this down, take that down, start hindering Strahd. There was none of that. It was literally just, we're a secret society, we don't like Strahd. And you're like...
Well, they were prepared to search for and help anyone that... They were looking to help anyone that could defeat Strahd.
See, I think that just lends itself a bit to, because I am a great fan of all of the D&D stories. I think a lot of them have a lot of great things about them, but the one thing I think they suffer with, and the thing we talked about earlier on that you kind of wrote out, is that kind of there's always this kind of chosen one philosophy that like the adventurers are special for some reason, and like there's no reason why a secret organization would trust 5 people who have just come in to undertake the mission that like they've been working years towards.
Yeah, 5 strangers aren't exactly...
Yeah. Oh, you guys must be special for some reason. Oh, you guys managed to do something like how... And I don't mean this is a huge critique, but if you're a bunch of random people who, let's be honest, haven't been that competent anyway, how do you then prove your worth to a secret organisation that they immediately put you front and centre as their like main plan of action?
Yeah,
right? We've not been very funny.
It's like every corny movie where like a time traveler like lands somewhere random and they're like treated like a god and they think that they can change the force of...
Like, obviously there, and it's because it comes from a place of kind of high fantasy, and that's fine. But I think what I enjoyed about Curse of Penance was it was a bit more gritty and a bit more realistic, for want of a better word.
One last bit I will quickly cover is the story of the gravedigger coffin maker thing. In the book, literally the original story is that he nicked them. Why did he nick them? Because he got told to nick them. That was it. In my version, I did that he'd been lied to and he needed the money to get out of the town. And you literally felt the heartbreak of him when he's done all this and he's been lied to and his gold turned to like lead, and literally he was a broken man expecting death just to come for him. Rather than this, I guess it's upstairs, you can go and fight the vampire spawn living in my loft. Why do you have vampire spawn living in your loft? I just do.
Yeah.
Because in the book he's got 4 vampire spawn like is living in his loft. Which
a lot of
really makes sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Subletting.
Yeah.
Especially if they're as like hungry as the priest's son was.
Well, they're not chained up or anything, they're just in his loft.
Yeah. That's why it doesn't make sense.
That most of our encounters were with normal mundane people.
Yeah.
Because that kind of gave, and I don't want to go too deep into like Tubbs' motivation, but as we were talking about during the episode with Tubbs' weird mood swings, Tubbs is very much kind of a, as he calls it, as he sees it in front of him, justice kind of guy, and I think that gave Tubbs as a character a lot of kind of like purpose.
Yeah.
Well, Barovia is meant to be like over 90% human, so while there are other races there, the way I think Nikoli did emphasise the fact that most of the population is human. Most of what you're going to be coming up against are just humans, because it stops it from being quite so... It's easy to fight something if it's something completely different from you, but when it's another person, it's not that easy.
I think that kind of bled into our characters a little bit though, because people kept forgetting that like obviously Tubbs was a halfling and Ozmand was a tiefling, because it would go episodes and episodes without it being mentioned and things.
I didn't forget that AJ was tiefling.
I forgot frequently.
I made frequent comments about the height difference between the two.
To be fair, for the first 3 episodes I kept confusing Meg and Amy, so go figure.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that was that episode. We'll spin straight into the next one, which started with the fisherman.
Oh yeah, he was creepy. I still don't quite like. I like the fact that he felt quite disjointed. Like I think that was the first kind of. Nothing made a lot of sense in Barovia up until then, but you could kind of justify it with people living in hard circumstances under weird rule. Fine. I think that was the first like out and out weird.
Yeah, it was like the first time we witnessed someone being completely obsessed to the point that everything else didn't matter. Because this is before the dream pastries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like the first time we actually are confronted with like something more supernatural going on that we haven't already like kind of like glossed over.
Yeah.
I mean, the fisherman in the book is just... You apparently see him grumbling for a while, and then he just goes, kidnaps this girl. He binds her up, puts him in his boat, and you're meant to turn up as he's just shoved her off the boat. And you're like, okay. And you're meant to like desperately swim towards it, and you might save her like 1 in 5, 1 in 10 chance, something like that.
Yeah.
But
it's a
that's
really low
how
chance.
it is, and I just kind of felt that I'd rather just have if she's gonna die, she dies in a way that's not brutal, but dies in a way that reinforces how far people have fallen. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit too much of a setup.
Didn't hugely want to have it that you've been in Barovia for this length of time and now you feel guilty for someone else murdering a child.
After the events of the first episode, but someone murdered a child.
Hey now.
Being exonerated. He's being exonerated.
There's a lot of child murder in Curse of Strahd, which is you don't realise it till...
None of which Ozmand was a part of.
Weirdly, the only episode where we've acknowledged that was the one where you weren't here, where we said actually we should probably acknowledge that like Tubbs told us to stab the baby.
You actually admitted it as well.
I did.
It's fine, it's recorded, we have evidence.
With the fisherman as well, I think that kind of reinforced the idea that we were always kind of one step behind, and the fact that you can't always save the day. But also I think a general serious philosophical note about Curse now. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed throughout was that kind of very weird black comedy nature of it. Like, there's a ton of really dark shit that happened.
Yeah.
And I think that would have got really heavy if it wasn't for the fact that we were utterly incompetent and really good. And in a lot of ways probably very disrespectful to a lot of things.
Yeah, I think our humour really turned some dark bits.
It also made it a lot more fun to play.
For what Strahd is, well, Curse in general, is a very overbearing, depressing world. But you need to have everything feel that to do it properly. And I think that the problem the book has is that, yes, it's overbearing, yes, everyone's like, oh fuck, what's going on, but when I read the book, I never felt like it kept the oppression of the world kind of feel. It always felt like it was like, yeah, something bad's happening now, but I felt it needed to be just turned up that little bit further to feel this proper crushing despair just around you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why the funny stuff happens as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's where gallows humour sort of bleeds the best. It's like, if the world is absolutely crushing despair and you don't know if you're going to get through it, literally that's the point where you just get people just laughing about, you know, ho-ho, you know, even the sort of ho-ho baby stabbing stuff.
Yeah.
It's very much that what makes you laugh when the world is so bleak, and that's one of the things that I think was really strong in this.
I feel like Barovia is a metaphor for post-Brexit Britain.
Don't be stupid. Barovia's got far more money.
There's a lot more job opportunities and, you know, everything.
I don't know, home base is shutting.
Yeah.
So that was the fisherman. And after the fisherman, you did the Vistani.
Yep. I feel like we were meant to achieve more there but couldn't because of Tubbs. Is that correct?
Basically, you were just meant to go and talk to them because you were insistent on talking to them. I'm just trying to remember if anything else happened.
There wasn't very much there, really. Just, by the way, this camp of people there.
Yeah, and then you
just decided that we're going to focus on them.
And then you had the dream pastries.
Yeah.
Which was interesting, and the Red Mill, which again
Let's
was
play a
interesting.
game called Who is Aware Now After That Ball is a drug that Tubbs has never taken a drug in his life. I'm very aware how kind of ridiculous Tubbs' arc was, but that's how I envisaged Dream Pastries working in his head. It was a very kind of quick thing for him. Partially I didn't want that to be the loom over everything forever.
That whole intervention was just hilarious.
Yeah. Also in my head, Tubbs is one of those people who would like, if you handed him like a cigarette with like just regular grass in it, he'd be one of those people that pretended he was feeling it. And so I feel like the effect on him wasn't quite as bad as it was. He was just trying to act cool in front of his new friends.
It's a little side note, but once when I was in high school, we were doing a play, and we convinced the younger kids that Schlur was alcoholic, and and all these like 14, 15-year-olds are like pretending to be drunk or tipsy and like flopping all over the place, and the teachers are coming in and like, what's wrong with you? It's like, oh, we had some slur. We had some slur.
Yeah, that's Tubbs. Up until the point of Curse, Tubbs had lived a very, very lonely life as a half-boarding bachelor, and so he now had these cool friends who were into like music and stuff, and he didn't want to ruin that.
How old was Tubbs meant to be, by the way? I suppose you've probably said it like 100 times, but...
In my mind, he's like mid-30s.
Right, okay.
You know, like old.
Yeah.
No, not. But yeah, he was kind of certainly middle-aged, vaguely balding, trying to kind of... He's that guy who you see down the nightclub still.
Oh, the creeper.
Like, yeah.
The creeper.
There's always one in every club.
Yeah,
There's always one in every pub.
Yeah. Tubbs is the guy who's trying to prove that he's cool because he thinks people will think he's cool if he does edgy stuff. And also, let's be honest, probably has some kind of borderline personalities as well.
So, mugging the old woman for her cart.
I thought that was a stroke of genius.
I
She was
feel
a
like
bad
that was our
person.
one plan that went off without a hitch.
Yeah. I mean,
Even
she was a
though it
bad
came back to
person.
bite you later on.
Well, we needed a base of operation, so...
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
she was
think
literally-
I know.
She was
Perfectly
taking people's
legitimate.
kids. She was
Yeah.
taking people's kids for drugs.
No, she was taking their kids so that she could make drugs from them.
Yeah. That's the thing, people
Backing them
would
up with candy.
Yeah. Like, I stand by that decision. I don't care that she was old. I'm not prejudiced like that. If you're a dick, you're a dick.
Yeah, same with the Red Mill and killing all the witches.
Yeah.
Wow, we killed most of the witches.
Here's a question which we might want to save for a bit later when it comes up. Why was there a dead witch pinned up with like 40 million Vestani daggers in Fergus's house?
Oh no, she was a soothsayer. She was a soothsayer.
She
That
was.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
In case we don't get to it, she was a soothsayer, and
Sorry, she
basically
wasn't.
what happened is Strahd had tried to use one of them to find Irina, and
Okay.
when she couldn't be found, he basically killed the soothsayer.
Right, cool. Okay.
As a sort of, that's why she was pinned with so many daggers. It was a sign of complete and total overkill.
Righto.
Like full on.
He
shooting
lost
the
his
messages
temper.
to her.
Yeah, he lost his temper and just slammed her into the wall and just kept stabbing her with more and more daggers. Just
Oh.
total overkill.
What a charming chap.
Yeah.
The Red Mill. Any thoughts on taking over and burning down the Red Mill?
I feel like we shouldn't have burned it down. That could have been our proper base of operations because we had the deed and everything.
We didn't burn it down though. It was an angry mob, wasn't it?
No, it was you.
No, it was
That
the.
was you.
It was us.
Oh, my bad.
I threw her out the
But you
window.
did it by accident, yeah.
At least we found the basement with that nice soap to wash our hands clean of all the children's blood.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That nice.
Get the nice baby smelling soap.
Yeah, it's nice, like talc.
Totally wasn't made out of the children's fat.
Yeah, exactly.
That was I feel like one of the dark low points of
I mean-
the campaign.
In the book, basically it's just the children are stolen and then dream pastries are made. That's it.
It doesn't-
Whereas
So there's no connection.
How?
in my version, it was the children are stolen, they are quite obviously eaten, and the fat is also used to make this soap. But the other thing
I
I
feel
did
like
in the
it.
book was I don't understand why the witches would live in squalor when they have so much money. Like, I know money doesn't mean a lot to some people, but when the witches literally get 1 gold piece per dream pastry, they would... I don't understand why they aren't living in, not luxury, but living in this state of that they have, they're living a very clean because someone will clean it for them, but on the price of, well, I can make one of these pastries for you. It's the amount of power they would have, bluntly, as like a dealer. I do not understand why that they would live in this broken, muddy squalor that the book describes, which is why I changed it completely in my version.
I think it works better the way that you did it.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, and the like realization from the characters it's more realistic as well. So if they're faced with that decision,
maybe I'm just overthinking it, but it just didn't make sense to me to have 3 witches living in a windmill where they're getting 1 gold piece per dream pastry, and yet they still live in squalor and.
But they were taking everyone's possessions as well, weren't they? So it's
no, not in the.
No, not in the.
Not in the book.
No.
Yeah, I'm not talking about in the book. I'm talking about in.
Oh, my version, yes, they were.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's, kind of they'd need somewhere to put it.
Well, I guess it could be more like severe hoarding, where everything doesn't feel luxurious because it's all crammed in.
Yeah, we didn't stumble across the stacks of newspaper room.
Indeed.
Maybe that's what got fire.
The bags of bin bags.
But no, I felt that they would take anything of value.
Yeah.
In exchange, because they want that addiction. They'll give like a dream pastry for something worth 10, 30, 50, 100 gold. Because people with desperation will want that, and they'll give them minimum for what they can get maximum back.
See, when we like tried to murder them, I had this image of like, the movie The Witches.
Yeah.
Like with the kids and stuff. I had the images like they had this facade kind of thing in public, and then when we started murdering them, like their faces changed. It was like the witches, and they were like, yay, murder! Please kill these.
Well, they did kind of, because they had the sort of like, in town they'd be just this normal looking people, whereas back where they were, they could take the mask off kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe to a lesser degree than it could have been, but yeah. I mean, I genuinely thought about having them all as these, what appear to be like beautiful women, and then they just come across as this kind of like, when you start attacking them, that sheds away and they become like banshees. But again, it felt like there was too many other things that could do that later on. I didn't want to do that for everything, if you know what I mean. Anything you want to add on that note, Dragon?
Not really, no. You covered it all.
Okay, so the mill burned down, and you went back to Vallaki with these fat children.
I can't believe we got done though for child abandonment when they weren't even ours. I can't believe that.
Classic. Next was the Burgomaster's house.
Oh, it's the one with Victor, isn't it?
It's the one with Victor, it's the one with Udo, and it's the one with the statue. So yeah, and the dress.
I got my sweet waistcoat.
Yep.
I feel like that was the highlight of the episode.
It was. That's what I got out of it.
Did I not pick up my squeeze box in this episode as well?
Your squeeze box was.
No, you got that from a tavern keeper pretty early on.
Oh yeah, I
the
did
tavern
get
keeper. Yeah. You might have got it this episode, but it was from the tavern keeper.
Also, picked up his neat little butler's uniform.
So yes, Burgomaster's house and Udo. First of all, what did you think of Udo?
Which one was Udo?
Wolves
the
of People
guy
too.
locked up. Wolves
of People too. Yeah, solid returning character.
If we had left him there, would the battle have changed at all?
No.
So he would have escaped. He would have escaped.
His character was he was kind of a revolutionary. I mean, in the book, he's described as he was arrested because he held up a sign saying the Burgomaster should be fed to some wolves, and I really didn't like that because I felt it was very two-dimensional for why someone would be arrested.
How many people in Barovia can read?
Not that many.
How many of them would be likely to make a sign using a form of communication that they can't do?
Yeah.
Plus, it's a bit on the nose as well, isn't it? You might as well be holding up a sign saying like "Death to the Burgomaster."
Yeah, pretty much.
Like in front of the Burgomaster's house.
Yeah.
And, like,
or the end is
not to get arrested.
Yeah.
It felt a little cheap.
Yeah.
This was the first time I felt bad about the fate of an NPC with Victor.
5 episodes in, and we've had several murders so far, and this is the first time.
Yeah, but like the Vestani was asking for it.
Well, Victor killed himself.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Also,
Well, I mean, he ledified
no
himself.
compunction about killing people.
Yeah, he had already leaded his butler and an innocent girl already.
Yeah.
So Meg felt no problem having him
Did
murdered.
Tubbs perhaps see a little of himself in Victor?
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, Victor in the book is very different. Victor in the book is very much, he's meant to have tried to make himself like a pentagram to transport himself out of Barovia,
That's pretty metal.
but he fucked something up, and basically every time someone goes through it, they just get vaporized,
Oh.
and that's what happens to the butler and the maid.
Again, I like this idea that everyone was resigned to the fact that was it. They're in Barovia now.
Yeah. I just didn't like the whole portal out. I think it was just too cheap, and I liked the idea of this being this like crazed alchemist that's, you know, mother and father sort of support him, and that kind of like, you know, mummy daddy feed me, and he doesn't want for anything, so he's quite spoiled, but he's like, I want to be this powerful magician. And how to become more powerful? Well, I found this book that I found these lead bombs, I can just throw these at you. You know, I'll like the guy who basically thinks himself as like the sexiest man in the world kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, I think it's stuff like that gives you kind of a false out. I feel like that can lead you down a rabbit hole of let's try and make his portal magic work so we can just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He was like going out with Stella, wasn't he? And
Well,
were they like arranged to be married or something like that?
in the book, there was meant to be a marriage between the two of them, but I think she didn't like him.
Yeah, that's understandable.
He turned her into a cat, or he tried to turn her into a cat, and that's what ended up with her mindset.
Ah.
But in my version, what I did was I tried to keep it that the two of them were they were trying to get the two of them to be together, and he turned her into a cat, but when he turned her back from being a cat,
He only
something
half did
didn't-
it.
Yeah, something didn't change in her brain, so she came back as human form, but not with a like human brain, or you know what I mean, something that kind of change, like sort of tainted thinking she's a cat rather than being a human, like cat and stuck in a human's body.
We did get into a bit of a run there of turning people backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
That was later on though.
Yeah.
I kind of like the end of Victor actually. I think Victor's whole death by smoke bomb accident I think worked quite well.
Yes.
So I also found it hilarious you trying to get the statue out of the building.
Why did we
Aimed
want
at
the
some bushes.
statue? Why did we want the
The statue was the apprentice of the
Oh
seamstress.
yeah, and we were wanting to return her, weren't we?
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
seamstress
And we ended
went
up-
his basically the whole plot you didn't see was that Victor was trying to impress the seamstress girl, and when she was like no, he is like, well, you know, don't turn away from me or I'll lead you. But she's like,
Wait.
of course you will, Victor, of course you will, and he just,
Yep.
because yeah, Victor's moral compass is slightly fucked.
He's a spoiled little boy.
He's a spoiled little boy who's used to getting his own way.
Yes.
He was completely entitled to her intentions.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
he later had to destroy himself.
Yeah, so
You needed a good paddling.
yeah. But with Victor, it was his character was one of a, you know, totally self-obsessed You know, the warlocks are going to lose themselves.
Yeah.
He's one of those. That was his character arc in my mind, anyway. But yes, that was Victor. After Victor was stealing the tea and getting out, and then meeting Isaac again outside.
Oh, that's the thing. I never brewed any of my tea. Damn.
You might have done on the cart, I think. But yeah. And then you left and went to Kresk. So
Krez.
when you got to Kresk, and I wasn't sure what you thought of the story of the sort of people in Kresk. The sort of like looking after the soulless ones.
So I feel like again that's something we missed. I feel like we should have looked at the Soulless one a bit more. It's something that slipped my mind quite a lot, which is kind of a Tubbs thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously we knew about them from all the stuff that you told us, but like Matt was saying, I don't think we really were we didn't sort of do a deep dive into like what's going on, what's causing this, what's doing that. You know, we just were like, oh, okay.
Which, to be fair, kind of suited what we were up to anyway. It kind of suits that saying, we're not the heroes aesthetic. Because I don't think at any point we were really like, everything we did good, pretty much, was done through kind of, I don't want to say selfish consequence, but like, even down to beating Strahd. It wasn't a case of we went on a mighty mission to slay the evil ruler of the land. It was the fact that he was kind of in our way.
Yeah, we kind of stumbled upon him and this whole plot.
Yeah, we were anti-heroes at best, I think.
We kept taking wrong turns and ending up in plot events.
We kept meaning to go left, but instead we kept turning right.
Yeah, we were just looking for the toilet and stumbled into Strahd's study.
We were searching for our drummer.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Actually, no, what I'll do first of all is I'll tell you the tale of the dress as to why the dress was there, because I didn't like how the book did it.
I did.
The book did it that you went from Vallaki to Krezk and then back to Vallaki to get this dress because the Baron and his wife, their son was dead for 2 weeks and then brought back to life by the abbot, because the abbot just walked down and went nope, bing, and rezzed him after 2 weeks, and the boy, according to the book, was like mentally quite disturbed by the fact he's been dead for 2 weeks.
As you would probably naturally.
Yeah, as you probably, yes. I didn't like that. I liked the idea of the abbot saving him from being terminally ill rather than the abbot bringing him back to life, because it felt, the whole embracing how undeath works and all this nonsense. I was just like, no, I'd rather just do it properly. So,
I mean, I could understand that if it was like a couple of hours after he died, but not 2 weeks.
I think it's in the book. It's a week or so after he died.
That sounds just too much.
It's literally, well, the problem is the Baron and his wife keep having kids, and the kids keep dying at the same age due to, like, I think it's some illness. I don't know if they even mentions hereditary. I think it's just some illness. And I felt that in order best to tell the tale, it should be, if the abbot's going to save a child, he's going to save it when the child's sick rather than coming down and raising the child, because it's the whole, don't, especially because the abbot is meant to be an angel to several degrees.
He's
alright.
Yeah, and it's the don't meddle in the ways of man kind of thing, like don't res people from the dead kind of thing. It feels too, it just didn't feel right with everything else going on, that he should be able just to walk down and go bing, that's you. I mean,
also, if he'd do that, he'd probably topple.
Huh?
Sorry, also, if he would do that, he would probably also topple Strahd.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much his whole character in the book is one of just withdrawn, and he comes down after all this time, does this one thing, and goes back to his thing, and that's it. And all he asks for is this dress. And that's because he's making this flesh golem, who's just a flesh golem who he thinks Strahd's going to fall in love with, and then that'll solve all the problems. Genuinely, that's what the book says. It's just he creates this flesh golem.
He has good reasons for all the things he does, but it ends up so twisted by Strahd and the atmosphere in Barovia that it all gets really twisted.
So we jumped to the flesh golem plan. I feel like there were other steps he could have taken before jumping to flesh golem, and he accidentally turned over 2 pages at once.
Strahd, have you tried Tinder?
he strongly believed that what Strahd needed was a wife, and he needed a wife that could, I think it was tolerate Strahd or something like that, he said.
He needed a wife who was strong enough to deal with him, but also the reason he thought he needed a wife is because all of this started because he demanded that Tatiana love him and not his brother.
Yeah, he needed someone to temper him.
Yeah, but also he slaughtered half of a kingdom and got himself turned into a vampire via a dark pact for a woman. The only thing left that they haven't tried yet is for him to get married.
So, yeah, that's what the book goes for.
I like the way we played it.
That could easily be the plot of a teen movie.
Yeah, my version of the story was that there was this abbot who... The abbey before the abbot was full of these, nuns and stuff like that, and it was all slaughtered by Strahd. Keeping all that was fine. That happened. Just did. I think Strahd sent them all mad and they all killed themselves, but something happened there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, they're irrelevant. The abbot came to this abbey and he settled in, and the abbot is, as I said, either part angel or full angel. I've never really clarified that.
I'm
but
trying to look it up.
when he was there, this leper colony appeared, And he, being this sort of man of faith, was like, well, I've got all this room, sure, come in, make yourselves at home. And one night he gets this visitor, and at this point I adopt if anyone's a fan of Diablo 2, the Marius approach, where he thinks he sees the angel Tyrael, when in fact it's actually the demon Baal. But this person appears at the gate and he thinks that it's another angel that's come to, strengthen his faith, that he's having doubts, seeing all the sick people, seeing that the world's oppressive, seeing he can't do anything. He thinks he's stuck, and then this person just appears and being like, let's talk about what we can do. He immediately, his faith's returned, and he's like, right, well, what can I do? And that person tells him, well, how about you open the library and try and find what we can do with it, if there's any research we can do, because the library's been sealed at this point. So the stranger leaves, and the abbot opens the library, and he gets the lepers to help him, and eventually they find a couple of things they can do, which turns the lepers from just being these poor, sick people into the gnolls, or they were gnolls, like dogmen.
Yeah, because we got gnoll weapons out of that.
Yeah, it's like a course of potions, and it gives them like longer life, they're stronger, they're better health, all this stuff gets cured up in this, and he thinks it's great. And he also finds a book about basically building this flesh golem, and the stranger comes back and he tells him about it, and the stranger is Strahd, there's no point pretending it's not. The stranger is Strahd, but he thinks it's an angel. And at this point, do you know, or have you pieced together why Strahd did what he did with the abbot?
He's trying to get laid. No.
Probably destroy them from the inside, I'm assuming.
Is the abbot in some way related?
This ties into whatever the last episode is, episode 19. No, episode 18, sorry.
Was the abbot something to do with the guy in the mirror?
No.
Oh.
Was he the one that helped build the crypt?
No. Well, I'll tell you what it is then, right? The abbot has built this flesh golem, which he has imbued with intelligence and etiquette and all this stuff, but it doesn't have a soul. And although he's got it almost perfect, yes, it's a mindless killing machine assessed with etiquette, but it's not got a soul.
Oh, so he wanted to put Irina's soul into flesh golem.
Exactly. The whole thing he's done is Strahd has manipulated this abbot into finding a way of transmuting Irina's soul into a dead host.
I don't think he's going to be happy with his product.
So, yeah, but if Irina kills herself again, like if, for example, Irina comes back and Strahd goes, Irina, my love, and she goes, get the fuck away from me, and he goes, whoa, it's a game of chasey, he, and Irina jumps off a tower and plummets to her death again. He can go down to his basement, find this body that he's had, find someone who's basically just about alive, find a way to remove their soul and put Irina's soul in her body. So he has complete control that if Irina kills herself, he's not waiting another couple of hundred years for her to come back. And that's the point of the abbot.
Fair. That makes sense.
This is my way of working, because I think that's the reason that all this abbot stuff exists.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Whereas the book just has it that the abbot thinks Strahd wants a wife. Okay. I think Tammy's one of the best things I've ever written.
Yeah, I really like her.
Because in the book, literally, she's just a flesh golem, and that's really about it. Doesn't have any anger or anything like that. But I like the idea that I wrote this, that he's done all this work with her, he's got this sewn together from corpses woman that he's going to try and put a soul into the body of, it's sentient and all, everything. And then Strahd just turns up and says, well, can it dance? Well, what do you mean can it dance? Well, you need to take it off, you've got it strapped down, take it off the strap down and teach it to dance. Whereas the guy goes, oh, okay, takes it off the board, it ends up killing everyone. Because Strahd has no need of it anymore, because he knows that the abbot has done everything he needs. So he has no use for the abbot anymore, so he just suggests something, the abbot does, and the abbot just gets his head ripped off.
Yep.
And that's very much the Strahd character, the reason for the abbot being there, and the reason why Tammy is a lot more important than just this flesh lump.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the increase in the atmosphere increase with the little notes that she kept leaving. That you had your Kelly like all the etiquette.
What
notes.
the elbows
In
off the table,
blood,
rips
yeah,
off the shoulder.
like all in blood. It really like helped like create the tension.
Yeah.
It also added a lot of latitude on how we dealt with the situation.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the first boss fight we had with her wasn't us fighting her, it was us doing enough shit to escape from her.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we probably can't kill her.
She was designed as a sort of continual presence that gets stronger and stronger, and inspired by like Japanese horror, which is very much the sort of show glimpses don't just say, oh, there's a big creature coming and it's coming. It's much more of the presence is coming, you can hear it building, you don't know what the fuck to do about it, but it's getting closer and closer, and then the desperation sort of seeps in, rather than this, yeah, it's a big creature, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? It needs to have that sort of, the tension needs to be there, the growing desperation of this thing is fucking difficult to kill, what do we do? And as an ever-present threat for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
I thought it worked quite well.
Yeah, it was good to have a sort of, we kept running into her once in a while, that was sort of,
yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, we still didn't deal with Tammy.
Oh yeah, we have to go back through the library to find this specific book with this possible monster that's still in it. Shit.
But yes, I think that's the Abbey covered. What was next after the Abbey? It was the winery.
Yeah.
The winery and the hippies. The winery and the hippies. So you go to the winery, and the father dying, I think, is actually in the book, is it? I can't remember.
Which bit, sorry?
The father dying in the winery.
I don't know, I'll need to go back and check. But there's a lot different at the winery.
Yes, everything basically from Kresk onwards is a lot more different from the book. The reason for the father dying was I wanted there to be a distraction for the family while these other gemstones got stolen, because I didn't feel that having just I think it's just like there's a fight and then these get stolen, it felt very so
I think they're under attack.
There's a battle going on, and if you don't respond in the right way, the winery burns down.
Yeah, but that's not when the gems are stolen. That's when you arrive. That's well after the gems are stolen.
Yeah. So yeah, you arrive at the winery, there's a funeral going on. What did you think of the nonsense going on at the winery before we do anything else?
Well, that was the first time I had Ozmand be like, okay, well, let's, see how he gets on with the ladies of Barovia, and immediately you were like, yeah, she looks a bit like, I don't know how you worded it, but it was like I
think there's one tooth in her head.
Yeah, that was it. And then Tubbs immediately made fun of me, so
yeah.
I think were they like all naked as well?
No, no, hippies might have been, but the winery weren't.
I think I can't remember if Meg was kind of like trying to avert her eyes the entire time. They were like, oh my god, there's too much skin. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, but then
the first gem went missing 10 years previous to the story.
Yeah.
And that's actually the reason why you meet a were-raven really early on. You just don't know that you have.
Is that
or you
the innkeeper?
Don't know that you have. And that's because it's the innkeeper. When you meet Ismark.
No, is it not the innkeeper in Vallaki?
You might be right.
I think it is, because it's him and his wife that are both were-ravens.
The Blue Water Inn, yes.
Yeah. So the were-ravens are this secret society, as we said before, and they're meant to run this winery. But I kind of had it was run by a family, and all the and they finally killed the father, and the father's getting buried, and you go to.
I think you mean planted.
Yeah. And then you go to the hippies.
Yeah.
Now the hippies in the book are there, but they're
very different.
Yeah. How would you describe them from the book, Dragon?
Well, they're not. They're evil druids.
Yeah.
They are evil druids who are deliberately doing this. They are not misguided in any way.
We couldn't have had Karen seduce them.
They know that they're creating needle whites. They know that they've stolen the third gem from the vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are in league with Baba Lysaga, but
yes,
willingly.
They are. Yeah. The way I had it was Baba Lysaga, who was the Swamp Witch. basically had appeared to these hippies and been like, yes, I am Mother Nature, I want you to do what Mother Nature wants you to do, and they're all like, whoa, show us what to do. So she sends them off to, she tells them that this winery is obviously, holding Mother Nature back and putting all the gems that would cause the plants to grow in boxes, and the hippies all go in, break and steal these gems for her, and she leaves one in this tree, which is the one that goes, basically she gives them this powder which is going to be like, turn the tree into a monstrous treant, and then leaves, and the hippies think it's like some love ritual, so spray the dust on the tree and it becomes a treant, and then goes to try and wipe out the winery, but you're there to kill it.
I think the main takeaway from that episode was just Tubbs's, undying devotion to having Karen be his, special list.
Mother Nature.
I mean, at that time he didn't know that was the case.
You just,
I think, because I know that it sort of, I don't know that it was obvious throughout the whole thing, but Karen for Tubbs kind of like embodied his new attitude. So Tubbs, like a lot of people in Barovia, was like, hey, everything's gone to shit here. It's kind of my chance to I can just be a dick as well. Like, I don't have to hold myself back. And I feel like Tubbs learned a lot of bad habits by hanging around with just like zombies and skeletons a lot on how you can treat people.
Yeah.
And so Barovia is kind of his chance. So I think Karen kind of became the epitome of kind of that kind of saying fuck it to convention and just going for it.
Impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, yeah, basically the hippies cause the treant to rise and you kill the treant.
I think for Meg that was probably the most randomest thing she'd experienced so far.
Is that
giant
Karen
tree
covered
coming
Mother
towards
Nature outfit?
that as well, but more of the giant tree coming to life. It's like, what? Trees are supposed to do that.
The only other thing is, after you leave the winery, if you go and deal with something other than the druids at Yester Hill, when you go back to the winery, it's been destroyed.
Oh.
So that's one where your choice of where to go next
Matters.
can have a really big effect.
Well, we
And
didn't
we
want
won.
to cut off our wine supply.
Yeah.
And
Thank God we
actually,
didn't.
the wine supply isn't in the book, but it does say that you can buy wine from them cheaper than usual.
Well, we
You did a really good deal.
I feel like we were a bunch of alcoholics who didn't actually say we were drinking as much as we probably were.
To be fair, we didn't actually get an awful lot of it because Edmund's supposed to be delivering it, and he was drunk half the time we met him. So
He did love you though.
Yeah,
he did love us. Oh, I loved him. I loved him as well. I think he was my other favourite NPC character.
Oh,
I absolutely adored him.
okay. Yeah, the winery was very strange. Does it actually tell you where the third gem is in the book?
It was inside you the whole time.
The champagne gem.
Yeah.
That's the one that went missing 10 years before, and there was the family feud,
Yeah,
etc.
does it ever say where it ended up?
No, it doesn't say where that one goes.
Yeah.
So wait, if we had wished for the third gem from the Lich, we could have had unlimited champagne.
Well, you did have all three
Yeah.
gems because I put all three
Oh
in.
yeah.
The champagne isn't all that nice.
Well,
Prosecco
apparently
is
this
though.
stuff was very nice. But yeah, so there's the 10 years before, which was the family rift. So what the son who was on watch that night gets
Yeah.
exiled. 3 weeks ago, Baba Lysaga's scarecrows steal a gem, and then 5 days ago the evil druid steals the third one.
Okay. So the gems.
It never mentions the champagne gem again.
The gems I had, the one ended up in the tree,
Argons.
which you got very easily. One ended up in the swamp, and the third one ended up with Fergus.
That lovely chap.
Yes. So that's where the three ended up in my version because I felt that was the best split, and I also felt that having this winery in the bottom of Argonsvold Hall was very much a sort of the only place that was quite secretive to have the winery.
Yeah.
If Tubbs is okay, I would like to do episode 8 and then
That's
stop
fine.
there.
Yep, that's fine.
Cool. Because episode 8 was the one Tubbs wasn't here for anyway, so we can just quickly glance over it. Episode 8 was the werewolf episode.
Pit fight.
Yes.
Was that the pit fight? Yeah.
That's pit fight episode, yes.
That was amazing, that episode.
So, having killed the druids and the treant and scattering the druids back to the swamps, you return, you put the gem into the ground, and strike up a deal there, and then you make your way back and bump into Rictavio, who has a guitar for Ozmand.
Hell yeah.
You then go to Rictavio's tower, which was originally called Van Richten's Tower.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah,
meant
didn't
to-
you cut a character out for that?
Well, Rictavio is Van Richten, but he's very much Van Richten is like his like vampire slaying name.
Okay. It's like
So
the
he-
Bruce
Oh,
Wayne
yeah.
So he
Batman
just changes
thing.
his name. Like the whole Rictavio character that I changed it to is he just likes Rick, and he just keeps putting Rick in everything, which is why he was Ricky Florentino at the end and all that stuff. It's just he just likes the whole Rick part.
In case anything gets told to the vampires that he's chasing. So,
Yeah,
Master of Disguise.
yeah.
oh yeah.
So yes, he takes you back to his tower, which again is up this weird rope ladder thing. I was like, alright, fair enough. And you get sent to the... Originally the Werewolf Den is a sort of very side episode, but I kind of felt it should have its own time to expand and everything.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
It's very odd. My version became this brother versus brother, like a whole bandit camp that had been split down the middle by them not deciding who to trust. And one of them just wants power, and the other one wants to be the one in control because they're the mastermind. But together they're really strong, but apart they're not very strong. And the whole thing is that they've become addicted to dream pastries.
Oh, we cut
So-
off their supply.
Yeah, since the dream pastry supply has ran out, the poverty that's hit this werewolf camp has shot up because they're trying to take as much money as possible, because the dream pastries cost a lot now, because you're not buying them from someone who's making them, you're buying what's left. You're buying a dwindling supply, and that's costing everyone outside their choice of camp as much as they can possibly squeeze them for. And that's where all the poverty and stuff came from, which I'm not sure was very evident, but I did try.
To be fair, we wouldn't have picked up on it even if it was.
Yeah. So what's your memories of the werewolf then, apart from Karen trying to seduce the guy then punching him in the nose?
Well, I remember throwing Karen the cheese grater and it not really going so well. But to be fair, it was either that or the bread knife, and I'm not going to throw my bread knife. It kind of felt to me like we were sort of... Mr. Ozmand, he was like, oh god, we're in this now. Oh god, it's all kicking off. Oh, quick, just stab everybody, quick, just keep stabbing so we can get out of here,
I think we were all really worried about Karen, and we were just wanting her to get out of there as quickly as possible, and we were like, no, we gotta go!
I still remember you trying to get to the door, and Karen's like, puts a burn in her arm and walks up, and the guy's like, aye, on you go, and the rest of you are like... I'll just go up to that guy and ask if I can get through there. Walking up to him, hi, how you doing? Hello, do you want tortured? No, it's fine. Back to where it was.
Yeah.
It's just...
I think we kind of felt that we were like the worst parents in the world, and Karen, our child, has gone to the gorilla den.
Yeah, she's run off into the zoo and fallen right into that pen.
Yeah, she's fallen right into that enclosure.
And no amount
Alright.
of internet memory is going to bring her back.
But
Wangs out for Lebowski.
So,
Mate, there's a title for the episode.
what was that?
Wangs out for Lebowski. It's a play on all the shit Harambe memes.
Oh god. No, I got it, yeah, okay.
It was a simpler time.
To be fair, would it be an episode of Curse if I didn't make a joke that no one laughed at?
I got it, I was chuckling.
Chortling to yourself.
I'm trying to make a mental note to not laugh so much, or at least try and mute my microphone, because I've discovered that I laugh a lot on this podcast.
Oh, do you?
Shut up.
Where did you find you laugh a lot?
Well, I was listening to the outtakes one.
Oh, that one, that's
earlier.
because literally I did as little editing as possible. I just
laugh
went,
a
right,
lot.
what bits are irrelevant? Because I literally had to think about 6 hours of bare content at the start.
Oh.
That's why it ended up being like almost 2 hours long. So I was like, oh god.
We know how to go on a tangent,
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes,
You
you
do.
do.
and I'm proud of us.
So the next thing was the pit fighting, which which you've kind of covered and
Yeah.
covered in the pit fighting. And
Which is
how hard
quite
can it be? She can't lose, can she? No, of course not.
We're the player characters. We can't lose this.
And then Rosie got so panicked that Karen was going to get killed.
I know, she's so adorable.
She was just like, do I shoot her with my crossbow? And I was like, you can shoot her if you want. She's in a pit and the hunts people might turn on you. I'm going to shoot her. Okay.
Don't drink near the pit, that's what it was.
I said, I'm drunk, yeah. And then you had the clusterfuck that was trying to get Stella out.
Oh, that was where we got Stella from, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. She was properly catified. Well, she had the mind of a cat.
Mind of a cat. A girl in a cat's body.
Did we turn her back
Cat
into a
girl
cat and then we took her? Or
No, I don't think we
leave
had
her
a
as
cat
a
at
role?
that point.
Change her at that point.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we just
took her
kind
as a
of
role.
dragged the cat girl around for a while.
Yeah, she didn't like you.
No,
Yeah.
what was up with that?
Alright.
Because she had horns, you're a tiefling.
No.
No?
I
Oh,
genuinely
it
thought
was-
she
oh,
had
is it-
noticed.
Victor's waistcoat on.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
had
it was
Victor's
Victor's
Oh,
waistcoat.
yeah, no, you have said about that before. Sorry.
Yeah,
I blanked on that.
you had Victor's waistcoat on, and she looks over and sees this, like, gold waistcoat, and she's like,
I had it restitched though.
I know, but it's still the front sort of
Yeah.
It's
sequence.
the
and stuff.
colours.
Yeah. She just associates it with Victor, and it'll probably still have a slight smell of Victor as well to it, especially to someone.
That's fair
Yeah.
enough.
But yeah, she just very much didn't like that. Which I didn't expect you to get in that one. I thought you would have got it in the other one a bit faster, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
So-
you've overestimated my putting things together ability.
So, and then there was the Book of Torture, and then there was killing the two brothers.
Yeah, that was a bit of a clusterfuck as
It was a
well.
bit of a clusterfuck.
I mean, we did it, but like,
You got style points for throwing a dagger at least.
yeah, I thought that was cool.
So, yes, I think that was all for this one. You took Stella back, and you got very confused by when you took Stella back. Trying to climb the rope to Octavio with this cat girl in your arms.
Yeah, that was some tough problems.
Did I not fireman lift her and like
Can't-
climb up the rope?
Can't
Yeah,
remember.
that's what happened.
Just ended up going up. I just remember. Just wandering around, just like, how?
She was just at the bottom, just batting at the bottom of it.
Chasing it like a string.
Yep. But yes, that was episode 8. Which one was episode 9? Episode 9 was Argon's Vault Holt, wasn't it?
That's
Yeah.
going to be quite a
You-
long one.
Phil, you need to go, Matt?
Yeah, I'm afraid I do.
Alright, then what we'll do
I've
is
just
we'll
got
do
to
episodes
start really
9 to 18 next week, if
Cool.
that's okay with everyone.
We got
Yep,
pretty much
that's fine.
halfway,
Yeah,
and we got most of the big issues out of the way.
Alright, anyone have anything else they want to add?
Wolves are people
Not
too?
right now. Oh,
Rules
sorry.
are people do. Rules are people do, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if those
we're
two
good.
groups had like come together and like just worked out their differences instead of fighting, you know, that's one more faction to take on Strahd. All I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the werewolves love Strahd.
Yeah, the werewolves were.
That's
They,
true.
they,
Strahd side.
they see him as like an avatar of Mother Night.
Well, the werewolves in the book loved Strahd.
Mm-hmm.
The werewolves I had were basically just two big bandit brothers who.
They were
got their
kind of
power-
indifferent.
Well, they got the power from the Lich, so they were just got empowered to be left alone, effectively. Because they were, I think I had that they were both orphaned. Like, well, orphaned but together, if you know what I mean, but yeah. And they just sort of grew up, and despite their sort of fighting each other, they were very much together against the world. And it was only now that they both were experiencing significant drug withdrawal that they finally fought. Because, you know, drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
Thank you, and we will continue this next week.
The bell tolls. The end is nigh. For this week, at least. Join us again next week for more of our tale. This podcast is an adaptation of Curse of Strahd, a 5th edition D&D adventure. It was adapted from the original story by Nikoli. The podcast features Nikoli, Amy, Belry, AJ, Lexa, and Matt. All music was written and performed by Daniel Boström. Artwork was by John Moore.
Oh, actually, who wrote? No, sorry, it's Meg. Excuse me. That's very prudent. You weren't here for our backstories. Meg.
No, but I recorded one and sent it in.
Meg's backstory would basically focus around how much she hated Tubbs.
You did set her on fire a lot.
You did burn like 60% of my body.
I am sorry for the cop out as well, that as soon as we stepped out of Barovia, my tiefling fire resistance kicked in and I started healing all my burn wounds.
Yeah, and I just looked at you and just glared.
I think if anyone's to blame, it's RP-bot. So hate on RP-bot. It's RP-bot's fault.
See, in general, I'm not very lucky with dice. So
Not with mine either. Also, I'm just saying, it was Pup's choice as to who I burnt when I rolled a crit fail. It's always happened to be Meg.
You burned all of us.
Oh yeah, it's fair. I did crit fail quite a lot, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. What has life become?
There we go.
Strahd von Dicebot.
Should have known the whole time he was against us.
Damn it!
Everything makes so much more sense now.
I'm infinitely confused by the fact October is called October when it should be the 8th month and it's the 10th.
Yeah.
Because Julius
Romans
Caesar and Augustus were annoying and people felt the need to insert them into the middle of the year.
Yeah.
What was June named after then?
Jim Whitfield.
Oh. Makes a lot of sense.
You know, the Roman version of Hera.
Yeah, Juno.
Okay.
Basically because Julius Caesar was like, I'm going to dedicate a month to me, and Augustus was like, that's the losers. The gods like people who name it after gods instead, so hey, gods like me and make me better, make me a god. But then people worship Caesar anyway.
It's also kind of a super big-headed move to name the 2 hottest months after yourself.
True. They also renamed July. Well, no, they had a different name for July. So I don't know why we kept June and August, because July also had a different name.
What was July originally?
It was Quint something. It's like Quintus or Quintilis or something.
But our
Which is like-
names for months and things are a mix.
Yeah.
Not all from Roman.
No.
Yeah, some are from
But-
Saxon, are they not?
I think the Ares are, or the Burrs. Either the Burrs or the Ares are. Hey, welcome to this episode of Curse and Penance. We work out where the months came from.
September definitely is from Roman.
Yeah, because it has the same way. Yeah, because it has Latin roots, doesn't it? So like
Yeah.
you've got Janvier, February, Mars. So the first 3 are. I feel like March is a bastardization of Mars.
Yes.
I feel like we're all sat in front of computers. We could easily Google this.
Or what we could do is we could Google it, not tell anyone, pretend we know what we're talking about.
Is
Uh-huh.
that some kind
Or
of...
we could do the podcast.
We
Yeah.
could do the podcast, this is true.
Ah,